Have you ever noticed something strange? When it rains for several days in a row, your body starts feeling different. You feel heavier, more sluggish, less motivated. Your thinking feels slower. Even simple tasks requires more effort. Some people tell me they become sleepier. Others notice old aches and pains begin returning. Some people even say, Dr. Amy, I don't know why. I just don't feel like myself when it rains. Most people simply blame the weather. But traditional Chinese medicine asks a different question. Instead of, why is the weather making me feel this way? A better question would be, how is my body responding to this weather? Because once we begin answering this, everything begins to make a lot more sense. Healing is like tending a garden, and in every video, we water the roots. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Amy, and today I want to talk about something that I find incredibly fascinating. Not simply why rainy weather affects some people, but why it hardly affects others at all. This topic reminds me of something from my childhood. I grew up in South Africa, but every single year I'll fly to Taiwan and spend about 3 weeks in Taiwan summer heat. And honestly, I used to dread the first few days, not because I don't love Taiwan. I absolutely loved visiting my relatives, but Taiwan's summer couldn't have been more different from South Africa's summer. So South African summer is always warm and dry. Taiwan was the complete opposite. The humidity wrapped around you the moment you step outside. The air felt heavy. The sun seemed to press down from above. Even breathing felt different. And almost every trip, my digestion reacted. Sometimes constipation, sometimes diarrhea. Almost as if my body was going, hang on, give me a moment to change. My mum had one very strict rule. For the first 3 days in Taiwan, no bubble tea, no fried food, no night market food. As a child, I thought that she was being incredibly unfair, especially when my aunt comes and visits us with a bunch of Taiwanese snacks. And instead, we would eat home-cooked meals, fresh vegetables picked from my grandparents' farm, so simple soups, gentle food. Back in South Africa, we have a saying, local is lekker. It simply means local is best. Looking back now, I realized Mum wasn't simply deciding what we could and could not eat. She was helping our body to adapt to a completely different environment. Traditional Chinese medicine never separates us from nature. The temperature, humidity, wind, altitude, season, and sunlight. At the same time, our body has its own internal environment. Our digestion, circulation, energy, sleep, fluid metabolism. And so, when these two environments communicate well, we usually feel healthy. But when the outside changes, the inside has to adapt. Some people adapt effortlessly. Others needs a little bit more support. And that is where TCM starts asking really interesting questions. What is dampness? So, in traditional Chinese medicine, dampness isn't just simply water. It is a quality. It's heavy, slow, sticky, difficult to move. Imagine trying to walk through waist-deep water. You can still move, but every step requires more effort. And that is exactly how dampness behaves inside our body. Everything still works, just more slowly. And perhaps that's one of the biggest challenges today. Many of us do not recognize these signals. We simply push through. Another coffee, another meeting, trying to get our to-do list done, another late night, another weekend spent catching up. When sometimes the body is not asking for us to work harder, it is asking us to work differently. It's asking us to adapt. And now heaviness can appear in many different ways. Your arms and legs may feel heavy. Your thoughts feel slower. You lose your appetite. You feel bloated. Your stools become loose. Your face looks puffier. Old injuries suddenly aches again. So maybe you've noticed that when it starts raining, your shoulder hurts or your knees feel stiff. This is because dampness slows down the movement of chi and blood. And when movement slows, discomfort often becomes more noticeable. Another thing that most people don't realize is that dampness can influence the mind as much as the body. Maybe you have noticed yourself rereading the same email, finding it harder to concentrate, possibly overthinking, ruminating, putting off simple decisions. It's almost as if your thoughts become heavier too. From a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, this isn't surprising. When movement slows within the body, clarity often slows with it. But here's what fascinates me the most. Some people seem completely unaffected by it. They go hiking in the rain, they jump in puddles, they carry on with life. The weather changes, but their body adapts with it. Because health is not about living inside a perfect environment. It's about building a body that can adapt to changing environments. We are not trying to create a perfect body. We are trying to create a resilient one. One of the organs that's most responsible for that adaptability is the spleen. The spleen transforms foods and fluids and then distributes them throughout the body. When it is functioning well, everything moves beautifully. But when it struggles, it begins accumulating, which means rainy weather has a much bigger impact. And one of the simplest ways to support the spleen is actually through everyday habits. Warm meals, regular mealtime, not overwhelming the digestion with ice drinks when it's sluggish. Extraordinary health is often built from ordinary habits. Practice consistently. If you'd like to understand why the spleen is considered one of the most important organs in TCM, I have already made an entire Wuzang spleen video. I'll link it to above. Continuing on with my story, years later, I was working as the acupuncturist on a cruise ship, and something remarkable kept happening. At almost every single wellness seminar, I would ask, raise your hand if you feel slightly achy in your head, shoulders, knees, and toes, and then we'll begin dancing. Almost the entire room raised their hands. People would shout, my knees feel achy, my neck feels stiff, my shoulders ache. Some even told me, my digestion hasn't felt right since I've stepped on the ship. Different humidity, different routine, different sleep, different food, different mood. There was absolutely nothing wrong per se with the body. It was simply trying to adapt to a completely new environment. And adaptation takes energy. And so this observation has stuck with me ever since. Therefore, what does all of this actually mean for us? If rainy weather asks more of the body, then perhaps our job isn't to fight the weather. Perhaps it's to make the body's job a lot easier. That might mean choosing warm food, limiting your ice drinks, sleeping early, getting more exercise done, making it a habit of blow drying your hair after showers if needed, looking after your digestion before reaching for another supplement. However, none of these habits remove the rain, but together they help build a body that responds differently to the rain. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons that TCM has taught me. Health isn't about controlling the environment. It is about our ability to adapt to the changing environments. Now, if you've been listening to this thinking, Dr. Amy, I feel like this all the time, heavy, foggy, bloated, sluggish, then today's discussion may not simply be on rainy weather. It may be reflecting your underlying constitution. If that is the case, I encourage you to watch my phlegm damp constitution video. I'll link it above again. There we explore what dampness looks like when it becomes your baseline, rather than something that's triggered by the weather. To bring everything together, rain is something we cannot control. Humidity is something we can't control. The seasons will continue changing. Life will continue to go on. but our capacity to respond can improve. The rain isn't trying to make you sick. It's simply asking your body, can you adapt? And every nourishing meal, every good night's sleep, every exercise, every healthy habit helps your body answer that question with more confidence. So, my darling, I hope that after today's video, the next rainy day won't just feel like a bad weather. Perhaps it's another opportunity for you to listen to what your body's trying to tell you. Because my goal isn't simply to teach you traditional Chinese medicine. I'm here to help you build a body that says yes to life, to travel, to work, to exercise, to spend time with the people you love, to move through every single season with more resilience, greater adaptability, and greater confidence in your own body. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I wish you a happy day during rainy days. And most importantly, I wish you all good health. And good health is the ultimate fortune and the only investment with endless return. And when do we start investing? Right now.